Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Andrew Biedenbender, the head football coach at Grand Haven. Andrew, how are you?
Doing great. It's been a good weekend so far, and you get to relax a little bit this weekend now.
Absolutely. Of course, coming off a big win last night against Grandville. Obviously, it was one of the many stories that came out of West Michigan last night. Of course, with the big win that Hudsonville had over East Kentwood. Um, but but let's talk about your big win. I know you're only 2-5 on the year, but it's a big confidence win for this program, going forward in
Yeah,
the next
I think
couple
it's
of
some.
years.
Yeah, I think it's something that we've been building towards for a long time. I think the season hasn't gone exactly how you planned. When we lost Andrew in the scrimmage for the torn ACL, I think there was a lot of kind of trying to figure out things. When you have a certain plan in mind with a player like that, you have to kind of reboot things. Then we lose our quarterback for 2 weeks with a concussion. We lose Carson Hardy, our big offensive lineman, for 2 weeks too. So it's kind of been just a shuffling around of things. And our kids have really kind of stayed with it, even though it'd be very easy for them to just kind of let go of everything. So kudos to them and kudos to our coaching staff for putting guys in great positions. But last night, I kind of felt like it was everyone was back on deck, and some of the explosive offense stuff that we thought we could have had all season kind of I finally clicked. I would say with our passing game, our run game, it was pretty complimentary. And then defensively, Coach Rosemar, our defensive coordinator, did an awesome job planning against them. It's we haven't made them punt in 6 years, and they punted on their first possession. So that was a big thing for us, but also I think just to know it's the bend don't break. I think we tried to avoid the big plays by them. We knew they were going to get their yards and get their possessions and get their scores, but making them earn it, making them take a lot of time off the clock. That was a big thing for us.
Yeah. So really, I know coming into the season losing, and obviously every team faces injuries, and I know you have, and I know obviously Granville has too, but
Mhm.
coming into that, what was it like knowing that, this game is different? I know obviously Granville is one of the best teams in the state, but really, when did you know that, hey, we might have a shot at this thing? And obviously everybody knows that going into the game, yeah, anybody can beat anybody. That's what high school football is all about. But really,
Yeah,
when was it like, okay, maybe we got a shot at this thing?
well, as a coach, I never feel good until the clock shows zero. But
True.
honestly, like I said, I think the week of practice, it's been so weird. I think a lot of teams I've been on a part of winning cultures, losing cultures, and this year, for some reason, our kids have showed up every single week like with still rejuvenated energy. And Monday felt even more different than normal, and I don't know why. Well, I kind of challenged them on Monday and asked, what's your reason for playing football? There's a lot of things that we wanted to do, postseason wise, but they're still available to do that. But kind of ask them why they're playing football and what's the reasoning, and kind of show them that all that stuff is still there. Get to play with your buddies, still get to play for your community. And I think just reminding our kids that we had some fun. We kind of changed some things up a little bit with practice to make it a little bit more exciting, change some formations, added some wrinkle plays to it. I don't know. I think the kids just kind of gravitated to that and grabbed onto it. And all week it was just a different vibe than we've had in the last couple of weeks. And I think, again, getting some of those players back was a big deal too. So really the sense of kind of calm going into the week felt really good, and obviously it showed on Friday. I think the cool thing about it is we really never took our foot off the gas. I mean, they were still taking their punches and taking their shots at us, but we, especially offensively, we scored on 6 of 6 possessions, which is pretty impressive for that. And again, we stopped them I think 2 or 3 times, and if you stop a wing T team like that 2 or 3 times, you're going to be a good spot to win.
Yeah. So I know obviously this is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. This is your second, third,
Third year.
it's your third year.
Yep. Yep.
So really, I know obviously I mean, you knew what you were getting into when you took
Yeah.
this job. You know that you're in a division that's not going to give you any gimmies, and high
Yep.
school football never does. But what has it been like? And now, obviously, as to get the community excited too, because obviously the players is one thing, but obviously for the town, it's got to be they're probably on a high too.
Yeah, it was a great night. It's our Bucks Pride Night, so that's celebrating cancer awareness. And
Yeah.
so the meaning behind yesterday's game for the people that might not usually come to our football games, to be able to have them there as well, and to be able to share that moment with them. At the end of the game, we pass those jerseys along to those people, either cancer survivors or people who have lost someone to cancer. So the higher meaning to what that game was yesterday was pretty cool. But yeah, the community support, again, I think they can feel the stuff we're building. we're so close in certain games. I think just to get over a big hump against a big team like that, like Grandville, who's been kind of a perennial, big team in our area, was a big deal for us. And I think again, just understanding that the stuff we're doing and the building that we're having, and we've been in a 1-2 score game in the fourth quarter in every single game this year. We've kind of shot ourselves in the foot a couple times, but again, just to continue to show the fight that we have, and I think our players have showed that, and our community is pretty proud of that. I think we've even some of the losses, we've got people coming up to our players saying, "Hey, you guys never quit," and any of that stuff, and we've kept it interesting. Like you said, it's a very difficult conference, very difficult. Division to be in, but we're okay with that. We understand that we're not going to back away from it. But just like last night shows you, anyone can beat anyone. I mean, West Ottawa had a huge overtime win with Caledonia, and
Yeah,
Hudsonville EK was a great game. So our conference is putting on some nice shows for communities around the area. So it's been pretty fun to be a part of.
absolutely. So, really, of course, look at the lower levels, and I know that's also been a key point in turning a program around. Where are numbers at right now? I mean, they've got to be they've been pretty good and pretty consistent. I know for the last couple of years, especially since you've taken over.
Yeah, when I took over again, there was I think 72 or 73 in our whole program. Now we're at 125. So numbers are getting there. Our freshman team right now is 4-2-1. Our JV team is 3-2 or 3-3-1, I think it is.
Yeah.
So there's having some success down there. They had a tough one. The freshman against Grandville was a really close, tight game. So there's a lot of talent coming up. Our 7th and 8th grade teams are really developing too. And then we added tackle. We hadn't had tackle here in a long time. We added 5th and 6th last year and 3rd and 4th this year. And the 5th and 6th teams are definitely showing the improvement. I think one of our teams was undefeated too. So across the board, I think as a coach, when you take over a program like this, it's not just the varsity level you got to look at. You got to look at the whole structure of things. There's been a lot of people who've been very integral part of that stuff. So it's not just myself, but we really kind of looked at the whole thing when I took over. What's this going to look like? And we want it to be a long-term plan. And things are in place, and I think you can see things developing and going. So we're excited about the talent we got coming up. I'm still excited about the talent we have right now, and I think again we're trying to build something that's sustainable over time.
And of course, the next two opponents, awkwardly enough, played each other last night. Your next two opponents, of course, Hudsonville next week, and then East Kentwood week 9. It kind of follows the similar theme of, we got two more opportunities to do it again. Maybe, who knows? We'll, find a way to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
What is the next 2 weeks going to be like, for this program? Because who knows what could happen.
Yeah, I think the win on Friday really kind of took the pressure off us a little bit. I think guys were, starting to get a little concerned of, like we're putting all this work in, but we're still not seeing it. So I think again, to see something like that kind of come to fruition was big. And I think now again, it's just let it all hang out. I think the idea that, we got a top 5 team in the state coming into our house is awesome. They've had, 2 big battles lately too. So, they're battle tested, but we get a chance to just kind of go compete against a great team, a great program, great coaches. But I think that the pressure's off, and the idea that we get to see that we can beat a team of that caliber, compete with a team of that caliber is a big thing for us. So again, all of our goals are still ahead of us potentially. So I think the fight to still do that. And I think our kids the other night were like, "Hey, why can't we just go do this again? This was so much fun. Let's try to do it again." So we're going to do everything we can in our power. I think it's going to bring some great energy on Monday. But yeah, definitely looking forward to those 2 great opponents this next 2 weeks again. But okay, Red football, you never know what can happen. So
Absolutely. All right. Well, Andrew, thank you for spending some time with us, and best of luck next week against Hudsonville, and we'll talk to you later on.
thanks so much. Appreciate you having me.